We will tear your souls apart.
Hello everyone, I'm Wolfman Sam, here with my partner Johnny Buff Guns.
Hello?
And we are Creatures of the Night.
We are.
Alright, John, you want to start us off? And yes, my camera is not working today, so you just have to stare at my logo.
Yes, but it's a pretty cool, badass logo, I will say that.
I try. Little AI goes a long way.
It just shows, despite with all the cons of AI, but a little purpose to AI to a certain degree. But my advice,
if you don't have the money, and you're I don't even want to say aspiring artist because I'm not an artist. If you need the logo and you don't have the money, it's great.
My advice: use AI in a healthy way, but don't rely on every single thing.
No, always make sure to flex that creative muscle. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's a tool. AI is a tool, so
Right. Because the one thing I never used AI as a student is never use it for essays. I mean, yes.
Never use it for essays.
No, I did.
Or to gather information.
Right.
I'm a big negatory guy on AI summary.
Right.
I know a lot of young kids that use that, and I'm like, that's not real research. You gotta actually research things because it'll just tell you whatever is the popular opinion. So
right.
That's just me.
But I did use AI to help me pass anatomy, but that was different though, only because it helped me break down mnemonics and how to understand the material. That's it.
And not to put in my shameless plug here, but I do use it as a tool to make my music over at Metal Might Records. That's Metal Might Records for all your AI needs.
Right.
In case you guys are looking for some awesome tunes, some heavy metal tunes. It's pretty diversified as well. I just finished a vampire kind of jazz album of sorts. Betty Bat's Late Night Date would be the album.
Right. Anyway, to start this podcast off, I want to talk about how this year Devil's Rejects turns 20 years old. Imagine this. You had Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes. If they had a kid, this is what you get.
Yeah, and to add to that point now, I know you guys can't see my t-shirt. I am wearing my Devil's Rejects t-shirt.
Thank you for it.
Yep. To clarify, for those of you that know your film history, it's sort of like a little brother to Wes Craven's Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
Or not Hills Have Eyes. Hills Have Eyes. But I always said it's more like Last House on the Left.
I can see that.
And very, very similar. And like I said, it kind of continues for those of you that are familiar. It's a killers on the run kind of story.
Right.
It is a sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses. But the weird thing I've always wanted to point out, it's almost like a completely different movie aesthetically.
Right.
Where Corpses was like a cartoon, more akin to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is more grounded in reality, and that's why I use the Last House on the Left analogy, because the characters they're still the characters, but they look slightly different. They look less cartoony and more grounded in reality.
Right.
But the premise is the killers, the Firefly family is on the run from the law.
Right.
That's basically it in a nutshell, and all the hijinks that ensues in doing so.
Yeah. Even though I haven't seen House of a Thousand Corpses in a long time, I highly doubt you have to watch that in preparation.
No, you can, and that's the other thing too. You could watch Devil's Rejects not knowing anything about House of a Thousand Corpses and not miss a beat. Like I said, it's almost like a completely different movie, dealing with the same characters, but slightly altered in just aesthetic.
Yeah,
really.
Right.
And it's a completely different type of movie. Like I said,
right.
If Corpses is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre cartoony kind of splatter film drive-in. This is the more serious, grounded type of movie.
Right. Well, the other thing too about this film, it's another like those very uncomfortable, and it's also very like a grindhouse exploitations kind of style.
Yeah, like I said, the Last House kind of comparisons, I can't get over it because it does become very uncomfortable to watch.
It is,
especially with certain scenes. I'm gonna try to keep it spoiler free. I guess we'll have a spoiler section. I guess.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah. But okay, yeah, I guess we.
But yeah, it is a very uncomfortable movie to watch.
Oh yeah.
And over the years, I used to. I still love this film, but over the years, certain scenes just kind of bother me.
All right. Well,
I don't know if you get more sensitive as you get older, but.
Well, not about sense. It's just that my first viewing as a teenager, I was like I said, uncomfortable. Then rewatching it like here and there on occasion, I'm still not like comfortable watching, only because of how just it's over the top, brutal, and just
like I said, it shares a lot of the same kind of themes and uncomfortability of Last House. And I don't mean to make a one-to-one comparison, but that's sort of what it reminds me of. It has that same kind of like Killer on the Road. I believe they both have a rape scene, so
I guess maybe because it's weird saying this, I've seen Last House on the Left more than this film, despite the same. I don't know, maybe because I thought Wes Craven did it better. I don't know. I guess it depends on my.
It depends on your taste. I like them both for very different reasons. But I think it's a pretty good comparison to compare them because it's like that's kind of what it feels like to me, but that's just my opinion.
Right, and I also have to point this out about Bill Moseley's character. His character's name is Otis B. Driftwood. I have to, and you're gonna laugh at me when I can make this comparison right here. His character is named after a character from the Marx Brothers, A Night at the Opera, and their last name is Firefly, another character that Groucho Marx played in Duck Soup. You're going to say to yourself, how do we go from
that's
this
the thing. I mean, I guess this is the point where I guess we'll get into spoiler territory. They point that out in the movie.
Yes.
That's how they figure out, like, and they do. I don't know if they actually say their real names in the movie, but I know there is.
They don't really call each other by name that much in the film that I can remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know there is a little Easter eggs.
Yes.
You can find like jail prints almost that actually shows their. When I say real names, I'm talking about the character names, not the actors and actresses.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Otis and.
Yeah. I only remember because I remember Baby's real name in the film was like Vera Ellen or something like that.
Yes, Vera Ellen.
Something like that, and Otis was something else. I forget. But yeah, they point that out in the film. Right. I think the sheriff Wydell.
I think so.
His name Wydell.
I kept calling him William Forsythe throughout the entire film.
Yeah, he's one of the best parts. And
he was. He was like, you think like he was gonna be the hero that he captures these.
No, he goes to goes to lengths just as bad as the rejects themselves, if not worse. Right? He goes down to their level.
Yes.
And that's the thing that's interesting is you think he's going to be this Eastwood guy, and you're like, you're kind of rooting for him at the beginning, but then it's like, he's no better than he's no better than them.
Let's just say he was no saint, and also at that moment I'm like, I don't know who the hell to root for in this movie.
There's no good guys. There's no good guys in this movie.
The only good people in this film was that family they tortured at the motel.
The victims. Yeah, some of the victims I would say would be the only morally good people.
Yes.
Which uncomfortable rape scene, and it's weird because I think I had mentioned this when I had mentioned Devil's Rejects one time in the podcast, but I call it cinematic Stockholm syndrome. over the film, for the course of the film, because you spend so much time with the rejects themselves, right? They party, and they're drinking and they're having a good time. What ends up happening, I don't know if it's just me, you kind of end up rooting for them.
To a degree.
It's weird. Because, like, after the party, it's just like, they're horrible psychopaths, but I've been hanging around these guys for so long, and, it's like, they're horrible, but there's nobody to root for, so I'll guess I'll root for them.
I know, that's the tricky part. I just feel, it's like I'm trying to go from the dark side, like in Star Wars.
Right. It's like I said, I call it cinematic Stockholm syndrome.
No.
Yeah, I call it cinematic Stockholm syndrome, because that's like the only movie I know of that there is no bad guys, and I guess I don't know if I'm alone in this. I'm sure guys could let us know in the comments as we're recording this, but maybe am I alone in this whole cinematic Stockholm syndrome where, considering there's no people to root for, that people kind of root for the rejects out of...
You're probably not alone in that category.
It's like...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, it's such a weird kind of dynamic. I remember when I was really young, when I first saw this, I was like, by the end, I was like, yeah, the rejects, yeah, even though they did horrible things.
With my first viewing as a teenager, I didn't, at the time, I didn't give it much of a thought at the time about the good and the bad until I got a little bit older on more viewings of this movie, like, hello?
Like, yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, sorry.
I thought you were going to say something.
No, I guess, like, my point was that, it's like, as a teenager, you don't think about those things, but then as you get older, you rewatch it, and you're like, oh, yeah, how did I... Right. That's my point.
Right. And that's why there are certain movies that I go back and I watch, and this is tying into what I was saying before, is I don't know if the older you get, the more sensitive you get to certain movies.
To a degree.
I'm not a squeamish person by any means, but I went back and I watched certain movies, and I'm like, man, that's brutal. That is really brutal. And I remember as a younger guy, as like a teenager, I wasn't bothered by it. Right. I was kind of desensitized. I was like, all right, that happened.
Right.
But as an adult, you're just like, you kind of process it, I guess.
Well, at the time, as a youngster, getting to horror film, I guess there were still certain things that still made me sensitive at the time until now, not so much. Maybe a little bit, but it depends on the movie. It depends on my taste. So
and I'm no gore hound by any means. I say if you're going to have gore, have it have a purpose.
Right. Anytime I tell people about like a good horror film, I said, "Oh, you'll like this. There's no gore in it, but it's still scary and effective."
Right. And you don't have to be. It doesn't have to be a gore fest.
Right.
But if you're gonna go there, have it have a purpose.
Right. Well,
have it be shocking or I don't like expletive gore really that much. That's why I'm not really a big fan of Saw. I like the first movie, but after that, I just kind of clocked out. And Hostel I'll never get into just because I'm not a fan of that genre.
Right. Well, the Mandela effect. When I was a kid watching the first Halloween, I thought it was a gore fest. But now as I'm older, I'm like, this is not as gore because again, as a kid,
right. I remember. I remember when I first watched Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember it being a lot gorier than I remember.
Like my gore scene I remember is when Michael Myers kills the girl in the car. I have this vision of where he slits her throat and blood splats up, but no, that really didn't happen at all.
Right. And that's the thing. The mind is a powerful thing. Like, I'll give you an example. I mean, we're going to get off topic a little bit.
Yeah,
we'll get back on topic.
Well, here's the last thing. And then also, wait, before you... Sherry Moon Zombie, she's no angel. Don't be blinded just because she's hot and she tricked the guy at the motel.
Right, and I have to say, I know people are kind of mixed on Sherry Moon. Yeah. I find myself kind of defending her more than not. Over the years, she's delivered, decent performances and not so good performances. I will admit that.
Right.
But this performance, I think she did quite well. I think
Right.
she did a very good job. I didn't even notice the
Yeah. But
recast.
I will say though, this time she could have been a good Harley Quinn choice.
Probably. I'd
Okay, that could
say,
go either way.
yeah. I would say, given the right direction, probably. But to make a finer point, I didn't know. I didn't even realize this for years on end. But they recast Mother Firefly.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not Karen. It's not Karen Black.
Oh,
It's
really?
I forget her name. Easterbrook. I forget her first name, but I didn't even realize until years later that yeah, that's not Karen. That's not Karen Black. That's someone else. But it's the funny thing. But yeah, to get back on the whole mind is a powerful thing kind of subject. To put on a finer point, I remember when somebody had told me about the movie Human Centipede,
Right.
and my mind constructed something out of The Fly, something
Right.
like more body horror type of more
Right.
centipede than human. When I finally saw it, it was like, why do I feel like a German man in leather would really enjoy this movie? I really I feel like this is really popular in Germany for some reason, and I
Right.
felt it not only was unintentionally funny the first Human Centipede, but I was expecting so much more practical effects, so much more disturbing imagery than what I've got.
Right.
But yeah, it goes to saying like the mind is a powerful thing.
Yeah, true. Very true, man. And I also want to talk about, we have to talk about Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding.
Yeah, Sid Haig is one of those guys, much like Bill Moseley, I will always defend as probably one of the most underrated actors.
Yeah.
And like he's a character actor, and if you
Right.
guys know his filmography, he was TV and he was kind of everywhere.
Well, actually, that's the other thing about this film. You can like point out, like, have a drinking game. Like, oh look, there's Ken Forey, there's Michael
Right,
Berryman, there's E.G. Daly, and
right.
E.J.
And
Souls, Danny Trejo,
what
this great
Rob
character
Zombie
actor.
does best is his movie is littered with B movie actors, B
Yes.
TV stars, sometimes A-listers. In between that.
The only A-lister in this film was Rosario Dawson, but her scene was cut though. I'm not sure why.
Right. She was a nurse.
I think she was. I think at that time she was still like a nobody, still trying to make her way around. Even though, yeah, she
Right.
had been a couple
It always shocks me every time I notice that E.G. Daly is in this because I'm like, that's Tommy Pickles. That's
Right. Well,
it-
that's what's her name from Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse is
right,
dying.
right. It's so shocking because she's like, I know her as like the girl next door, and then like she plays a
Right.
hooker in
Yeah.
this one. It's like
Yeah,
totally the opposite. She's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah,
But it's like,
Ken Forey plays a pimp, and Michael Berryman was like, I guess, his sideman or something.
yeah, and I love their dynamic. They're like I said, that's the point in the movie where you kind of go through the cinematic Stockholm syndrome because
Yeah.
you're hanging out with the rejects, you're joking around with the rejects, you're partying with the rejects,
They
and
want-
it's just like it's weird. It's very strange.
They wanted some tutti frutti fucking ice cream.
Yeah, tutti fucking
There's no
fucking
in
frutti.
your future. Next scene, they get ice cream.
Right. There's elements of comedy. It's like I said, cinematic Stockholm syndrome.
Unless
You as the audience member sit with these guys like through thick and thin, and it's like you kind of start to like them in a weird. It's
Right.
weird, and it's funny that the sequel from this, Three from Hell, kind of pokes fun at that, but
Right.
that's a story for another time.
Right, yeah. And also, like, with them, like, adding a little slightly comedy, it's, like, similar to, believe it or not, a little bit to Last House on the Left, despite all that disturbing stuff, and yet they add a little bit of, like, slapstick comedy with those
Yeah, there's comedy to it. There's kind of a lightheartedness in between, and it's
Yeah.
weird considering the type of movie it is. It's
Yeah,
very strange, Like I
Right.
said, the ice cream scene is is perfect example. If you were to play it out of context, you'd be like, "What, like 1970s, like what, what is this, like a 1970s like edgy comedy?" I'm like, no,
No.
you know.
It's like they were like trying to like lighten the mood up after all the things we saw what these crazy psychopaths did, torturing a family at a motel.
Yeah, Jordan, like,
Captain
it's
Spock.
not too long after Otis like beats a man half to death, actually.
Right. Or Captain Spock.
And does that chilling, like, Charles Manson-esque, speech of "I'm the devil, here to do the devil's work."
Right.
Which I have to address this. I see the Manson comparisons with Otis.
I could see that.
He's obvious, because I know how much Rob is like not super obsessed, but he is like a encyclopedic knowledge of the Manson murders and the Manson family. So I can definitely see the influence with Otis and Charles Manson, and possibly Baby and Squeaky Fawn. Squeaky Fawn is one of the women of the Manson family. Right. So I can definitely see those comparisons.
Right. The other thing too is you feel bad for that little kid that Captain Spaulding scared.
Yeah, and like I said, he got off light.
Yeah, true.
He was the one survivor. Him and the mom. I forget. The mom didn't die. She got knocked out.
No, he just he doesn't really kill them. He just knocks out the mother, scares the crap out of the little kid, and then just takes.
That's the really interesting thing I never really picked up on. In the movie Devil's Rejects, Spaulding doesn't kill anybody, I don't think.
That's true. No, he's just.
Does he?
No, not that I could think of. He's just there. That's it. Basically protecting his niece and nephew. I don't know what.
No. Son and daughter. Their son and daughter.
Oh, okay. I don't know. They cheat.
Yeah, they're son and daughter.
Okay.
I believe Spaulding actually. I mean, I could be overthinking this. Rob Zombie would know better, but I believe Spaulding is the stepfather because Tiny is like the father. Tiny is the big giant guy, the one that looks like a zombie.
Gotcha.
He's like the father of the guy with the axe from Corpses.
Right.
So apparently, Mother Firefly not only got pregnant from him, Spaulding as well.
That could be another video of its own. The history family behind the Firefly.
I would love like a book explaining.
Yeah, really.
Like, I feel like there's so much more to the read. Like, I would love the family history. I'd love like. I'm not looking for a movie. Like, I don't want, like, Little Rejects, them as kids. But I would kind of like to know what, like, a prequel kind of, maybe not comic, but, like, a prequel novel on, like, what were they what was growing up like?
Right. Well, it definitely got the sense of dysfunction, especially from the early scene when they escape the police and.
Right, but there's also this weird sense of camaraderie, like they threaten each other to kill, that they're going to kill each other, but they never actually do it. Number one, and they genuinely care for each other. That's the only. That the only people that they care for is each other.
Right. Well, I guess that in Ken Forey, I guess if you want to say that too.
Well, yeah, and what little friends that they have.
Yeah, I don't know the kind of people that have a lot.
And I'm putting friends lightly. I'd say Spaulding is more friendly to Charlie, I believe. Ken Forey's character's name is Charlie.
Yeah, well, they seem to know each other. They get that sense like they know each other.
Right, like old friends, like immediately, and even like Otis is like, who's this guy first?
Right.
And Charlie's like, you still an asshole? Great scene. But like I said, the only friend they got gets axed. And like I said, he didn't really do anything wrong except throw a party.
Right.
Poor Charlie.
Right, now, it felt like a little bit like The Shining right there when you thought, like, what's his name?
A little bit.
he gets acts the same way as the guy from The Shining.
And I'll never escape that feeling of like when that scene was going down.
Right.
Normally you'd be like, yeah, he's gonna get her. But again, I don't know if it's just me. When that scene was going down, I was like, this feels wrong. I should be rooting for this, but I'm not.
Right.
Why?
I know. There's just
like I said, cinematic Stockholm. Right. Cinematic Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. And also, one thing I want to bring up, believe it or not, when this movie came out, fans actually petitioned an Oscar for Bill Moseley to be nominated for an Academy Award.
I agree. I really think this is probably one of his best performances. Right. But I've always been a defender of Bill. I think he should probably, in terms of B-movie actors, be number 2 or number 3 next to Bruce Campbell.
Right.
I really think so. Because he's one of those actors. He's one of those actors that, regardless of the role he takes, he puts 110% in it. Into it.
Same with William Forsythe.
The guy from Reanimator, Jeffrey Combs. Actually, Jeffrey Combs, I'd say, would be number 2, and I'd say Bill would either be number 3 or 4. Right.
But unfortunately, I hate to say this, Rob Zombie's not that lucky for an Oscar nomination for one of his movies.
No, but I really think if any of his films had to win an award, I think it should have been Rejects.
Gotcha.
Maybe Corpses, but I don't know. I think Rejects.
We're pushing the limit on that one.
Right. And even people that aren't really a fan of his movies, they always say, Rejects, though. but Rejects was good.
His movie was rejected for an Oscar.
Yeah. It's rejected.
Yeah.
Pun very much intended.
Exactly.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add about the film, or you want to move on to our next topic?
Well, maybe just one. Actually, no, I think we've. Let's see. Wait.
He's checking the list.
Yeah, I think we've just about covered it. I guess the one more thing I want to say is just don't insult Ken Foree with chickens.
No.
That's all I'm going to say right there.
Yeah, don't. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. So on to our next topic, and this is regarding to a completely different movie, considering it's almost the Halloween season by the time we're recording this. I don't know if you're going to upload this on Halloween, but
probably before Halloween, I think.
Probably before Halloween.
I have my schedule, my
he's got schedule, folks.
You have to.
Yep. Yeah. No, I post things in advance too with my music. Right. But so in the spirit of Halloween, we're gonna do like a what if scenario.
Right.
This is regarding Halloween 6.
How to fix it.
Yeah, how to fix Halloween 6. And I know what you guys are probably thinking as you're watching this. You're like, Halloween 6 was horrible. There's no way to fix it. Well, we're going to try.
Yes.
Well, we're going to go over to the guise of you probably seeing this movie first. If you guys haven't seen the movie, go see it so you know what we're talking about, and then come back to this podcast. But to go on to it, I mean, how to fix Halloween 6. Now, the cult thing I thought was interesting. Having Michael tied to this cult, or this Halloween cult, interesting. Making him his own dad, or making him Uncle Dad, bad decision.
Yes,
bad decision, bad execution. The stuff with Tommy could have been interesting. I'd say make it less about the star lying and less science fiction-y, and kind of give it, kind of tie it with Halloween 3. Now, I know everybody hates Halloween 3, but hear me out, okay? We have the whole superstition of getting back to the Halloween roots. And the day of Samhain and whatever, or Samhain, however you want to pronounce it.
I hear it pronounced differently, so there's really
however you want to pronounce it. Tomato. Okay, let that kind of be like a supernatural, like the supernatural force of Halloween, be the reason why Michael is is been able to stay alive. Like if we're going the supernatural route, let's take it there. He's got the thorn tattoo. We can still have the cult that can be tied into the organization from Halloween 3. Again, we're hoping that you've watched Halloween 3 so you understand what we're talking about. But that could be tied in with the organization from Halloween 3, and you get rid of the Uncle Dad. You get rid of all the extra like stuff, and just keep it the spirit of Halloween, or the demonic force of Halloween, is what keeps Michael coming back every Halloween. Make him supernatural. I know people like to say that he's a real guy. Me personally, if I was to do a timeline, not to get off topic, if I was to do a timeline, it really should have been the original Halloween and Halloween 2. Even though I like H2O.
Well, remember what I said on previous podcasts. Remember, you can't kill the boogeyman.
Right. If we're going off that premise and that supernatural premise,
I just had to say that. You made me say it.
Right. Make him like the spiritual embodiment of Halloween, and that thorn tattoo being like not the source of his power, but like the mark of Halloween. Sort of like how Sam is in Trick or Treat, sort of like this demon. Make Michael kind of this spiritual force, the shape of Halloween, if you will.
Right.
But I feel like if you were to go that direction, a much more supernatural direction, with Michael. Matter of fact, I would love if you were to do like a Halloween type of sequel. Not that we need any more Halloween movies at this point, but if I was to do a recommendation, get the guy who did Trick or Treat, the 07 movie. That's why I'm emphasizing the R, because it is Trick R, letter R, Treat. So I would love for him to direct a Halloween movie with Michael. And
right.
if he wants to steal our idea, he can.
I can see that. That's gonna happen, but I would be open-minded for that.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the way you could fix it. Like, There's nothing wrong with the cult of Michael, but take out the baby, take out the emphasis on family, because Laurie Strode is nowhere to be found, and you take out the whole like killing off Jamie, kind of.
I agree.
Leave Jamie's story arguably at 4, right? Leave her at 4. 5 was rushed, and 5 I don't think needed to really exist. But leave her at 4, right?
Right.
And
we got to make the money.
Got to make the money. The money is mine. But if you're gonna go with the supernatural cult idea, tie it to Halloween. Make Michael the embodiment of Halloween, of Sam Hain. They even reference it in the second movie. Loomis is talking about Sam Hain or San Win or however, right, in one scene. Make that, tie that in. And that makes perfect sense of like, okay, why he has the black eyes, why he's a force of Halloween. And that's how I think you should fix it. But anyway, John, your 2 cents? How you would go about it?
Like I said, right off the bat, I agree. No Uncle Dad. Let's axe
that angle.
Let's cut that out, and I'm okay with the baby. Just like, okay, there's no we don't know the father. It could have been just some random cult member.
Yeah.
And also bring back Danielle Harris, and she lives in the movie. She doesn't die. That's my one version right there.
Okay, so we're having that like. We're still. Your version is more focused on the family.
Yes, a little bit to a degree, but
to a lesser degree.
Nothing too extreme. It'll be like, I guess, cliched where the baby was going to be killed as some kind of sacrifice or something. Michael wanted to kill it, and then they saved the day. They saved the baby's life.
Yeah. Okay.
And Jamie.
Okay.
Jamie, yeah.
Okay. So very, very straightforward.
A little bit. Yeah, I know maybe a little bit cliche, but that's just me.
It's still good. I'd still watch. Still good.
Right.
Still very good.
Yes, and of course we gotta bring back Loomis. We need Loomis. It's never Halloween without Loomis.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, like again, going back to my idea, right? Going back to my idea, if we're gonna kill off Loomis, right? Have Loomis discover that, or have Loomis actually tell people why he calls them evil, right?
Right.
It's because he's the spiritual embodiment of Halloween. He's controlled by the unholy spirit of Halloween.
Right.
I think that's a cool idea, and that ties in with the title, and it could even tie in with the dumb title of The Curse of Michael Myers. Okay, what is the curse? The Curse of Halloween, of course. Makes perfect sense.
The other thing too is they don't explain like how like Danny may have the same kind of like that he hear the voices like Michael Myers did, and also the babysit.
They really wanted to go.
Like, where the hell were you? The babysat.
They really wanted to go like she's the next version. She's connected to him, which is, I guess, a cool idea. I don't know.
Again, it's like, where the hell was this woman? She said she babysat Michael Myers the night he killed his sister. Where the hell were you? I've seen the first movie hundreds of times. I didn't see you around.
Yeah, I like 4. I do. I like the atmosphere of 4. I like Jamie's character. But when we get into 5, where she can like, telepathically feel what he feels and sees what he sees.
Right.
It's like it's like the last time we saw her, she was going to be the next Shape. That's where they were going with that.
That's the direction they were going.
Spoilers for like a 40-something-year-old movie, but
when I met Danielle O'Hara, she said the reason why that just didn't go forward is because of like how they didn't think that no one would take that seriously, because people wanted to see Michael Myers, not like a kid being the killer. Yet,
well, here's how you kind of fix that, right? You don't make it immediately after, right? You essentially not necessarily remake Halloween with her, but you fast forward a bit.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe this time around we have her kind of instead of her as an adult, like catatonic, like in the asylum, right?
Right.
She hasn't spoken. It's reminiscent of Michael, but maybe a little different. Not remake or a ripoff. But I feel like there's a way to make that work. And heck, you can even go with a fully adult Jamie, right? Maybe she's living a normal life, and then suddenly again, I like the idea of the force of Halloween being the thing that changes the character, right?
Right.
If we're going that route, maybe there's something that happens that triggers her to become the next Shape. But it makes more sense to age her up and to fast forward a little bit to where she's of age, right? Either have her catatonic in asylum, but I don't like that idea because it's a little bit too close to Michael.
Right.
So
I've heard rumors about the possibility they may want to like continue Halloween 4 and bring like ignore 5 and 6 and just like where she was locked up for years, Jamie. But again, that can go either way, and I'm not.
Yeah, and it's just like you don't want to retread Halloween 1, really.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like the asylum idea. I feel like that's way too close to Michael's upbringing.
Right.
I like the idea of maybe her growing up, living a normal life, maybe haunted by that night,
Maybe.
right? And
Yeah, I could see that.
instead of Michael coming back again, maybe like I said, and they kind of played around with this idea in 5. Some force or some voice, some sort of schizophrenic voice that turns out to be the spirit of Halloween, changes her into that.
Right.
Maybe slowly. And then at the end, we get, her finally, maybe not necessarily putting on the Michael Myers mask, having her own version of it.
Right.
But, very Halloween-esque, of course.
Right.
And sort of being the new Michael Myers, but not really, not really kind of its own thing, right?
Right, gotcha.
I know people wouldn't be happy with that idea, but if you're going to go that route, I'd say that's probably the best route.
Right. But like I said, that could still go either way depending on, people's opinions or what to expect.
Right, and I think some people would like that, but like I said, I think, especially with 6, the opportunity of the force that drives Michael, if there has to be a force, not being the literal embodiment of Halloween, it's a missed opportunity to make the Halloween name make sense.
Right.
Because it's not called it's not called Michael Myers, though arguably it has this subtitle of The Curse of Michael Myers. But to make that make more sense, okay, what's the curse then? What's the curse? It's not Michael. It's okay. What's driving Michael? What's the force driving Michael, making Michael survive all these times?
The title of it doesn't make sense. Like what is the curse? Like you said.
Right. That's why I pitched the idea of the evil force of Halloween, and it could be not something visual, but something you can direct, almost like a chill in the air.
Right.
Something that he feels, something that drives him, and you can kind of play around with the visuals because it shouldn't be an actual being. Right. We shouldn't go Hellraiser thing, and it's not a pumpkin head.
Well,
it should be a literal force of evil, right?
Well, like I said in the past, there was almost the Hellraiser versus Michael Myers Halloween.
I still say if you're going to do a crossover with Hellraiser, I really think it should have been Freddy.
Right.
Freddy would have probably made the most sense. Heck, you can even throw in Evil Dead.
Right.
And they did try and do that with the Necronomicon in the comics of him getting the power of the Necronomicon. Right. But I feel like that's a story for another time. I think we talked about it when we did the Nightmare on Elm Street retrospective.
Yes, and I talked about briefly why they did not go forward with Pinhead versus Michael Myers.
Yeah, it was down to studio.
Yep, pretty much.
Studios wouldn't cooperate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Halloween 6 is a film that can go either way, how they could fix this movie, how it could have been better, but what could have, should have, as you say.
Could have, should have not.
Yeah.
All these things unanswered.
Yeah, I know, and I feel like if they also, I think they should have bring back the original Tommy Doyle actor, but at that time, there was no such thing as social media in the 90s to find the guy.
Yeah. Yep. Almost, but not quite.
Yeah, exactly, because that's what they originally wanted. They wanted the original actor who played Tommy Doyle, but he wasn't. His whereabouts were unknown. That's how they got Paul Rudd to do the part.
What could have been?
Yeah, I mean...
Well, here's something they could have probably done for parody movies.
What's that?
Considering Paul Rudd went on... Because wasn't he... No, I'm confusing actors, never mind. I was confusing... was it Jason Biggs with American Pie?
Yes.
Yeah. I was gonna go with American Pie crossed with Halloween. Pumpkin Pie. I don't know.
That right there, parodying it at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, Stiffer was the first one to die, Mr. Sex Maniac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go figure. Go
Yeah.
figure.
Stifler's definitely not a virgin.
No, not a virgin. Uh, but
Yeah.
is there anything else you want to talk about?
Let's see. With Halloween 6, I'm thinking about also one thing. In the movie, he said he had plastic surgery. Nah, keep the scar. It'll remind Loomis why he hates Michael Myers.
Yeah. Yeah, and I liked the scarred Loomis look. I thought it was
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. I mean, I get it. He may want to have plastic surgery to remove it, but it's like, come on, like leave it until you really get rid of Michael Myers. Then you can do
Right.
surgery.
Right, exactly. It's just
Yeah. I mean, this is a minor error here, but still. And also, did we really need to have the Howard Stern jerk guy who was? I mean, not that he was Howard Stern, but that was the idea. He was
yeah.
mocking Howard Stern. Get rid of this character. I didn't give a shit about him.
Yeah, just useless characters.
Yeah,
Not as
useless
bad as
character.
Buster Rhymes and Tyra Banks.
Yeah, I got
Not
that
a
one.
franchise killer like that, but
Yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah, that's true, but still, I would write off this Howard Stern jerk that I didn't care for.
Yeah, I don't even remember the character. That's
Yeah, me neither. Except for the fact that that girl who was the daughter of the abusive father had a brother and a girlfriend. Yeah, I really don't care about these characters.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
What could have been.
Also, yeah, the way the father dies, his head explodes. Keep that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. I mean, that's the positives you can say about this movie. The atmosphere is still there, and the kills are pretty awesome.
To a degree, but it's like, yeah, I've seen it done better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, actually, the mother should have lived and survived. She was innocent. The father was a jerk off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they clearly at this point were just going for exploitation. They were in a punch clock. They're like, "There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it." To quote Rob Zombie during the making of his Monsters remake, "It's not gonna get any better."
Yeah, like I said, I think now I can't think of anything else I might want to add. Fix Halloween 6. Except we didn't talk about Wynn's character.
Yeah.
How would you fix that? Or
Wayne's character
the way it is? What?
I don't necessarily know. Like I said, I like my idea of of Halloween kind of being this force.
Right.
And that's what's driving Michael. The less on like I guess you can put the Paul Rudd character, but like I said, what kind of clocked me out for that is like it tried to make it with the stars and the alignment of the symbology, tried to basically put Halloween under a microscope, and I'm like, no, you're missing the spiritual element.
Right.
And you should have kept that.
Right.
You should have kept that.
Right. Yeah, this is a film that can go either way, and we'll never have a really definitive answer how to fix this movie.
But it definitely should. We definitely should do this with other films in past.
Yeah.
At least bad films or films.
That exactly.
We consider bad, which could be a loaded gun because if we're touching your favorites, listen, this is a kind of shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
So no offense if one of those films in the future happens to be your favorite, don't worry, it's your favorite. You can love that movie.
True.
And that's why we do this. We talk about the movies we love. Yeah,
true. Anyway, I guess we can move on at this point because I've been holding in this rant inside of me about how, as we all know, Disney has been releasing public domain horror films, and I really fucking hate these movies. They are just so poorly written. They are just trash and crap and shit.
To clarify, he's talking about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Not just that one, all of them.
All of them. All the public domain, like What If Disney Was Horror type of movies.
And it's funny you say that. The month of my birthday, less than 2 months ago, I went to the Haunted Mansion. The ride was scarier than these movies.
Go figured. Well, Disney's pretty scary nowadays.
Oh yeah,
in real life.
Oh yeah, and especially Winnie the Pooh, Blood Honey. It felt like a kindergartner wrote it, and the part when Christopher Robin was begging Pooh, please don't kill me. I'm sorry I left you guys behind. Oh, please, give me a break.
And it's funny because I feel like, especially with like, depending on your opinion on this game, folks, I feel like there's a possibility if you wanted to do a horror movie on a cartoonist, I'd say go with Max Fleischer.
Right.
Go with Max Fleischer. Go with those creepy cartoons. Have it be like a satanic kind of thing, kind of like the indie video game Bendy and the Ink Machine. I know people are tired of hearing that, but
right.
The concept of a cartoonist making these cartoons come to life through satanic forces are actually pretty interesting concept.
Right. And also, in Screamboat Willie, because of the reference to Steamboat Willie, the David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown, is the killer Mickey Mouse. He kills like a bunch of like random people, and imagine this. He kills a bunch of drunken teenage. I don't know, they were teenagers, but here's my point. Dressed up as Cinderella, Snow White, and other Disney princesses, and they were like...
you get it?
The best friend.
Disney!
What's that?
You get it because Disney.
Yes.
I feel like the writers like, yeah, Disney though. Disney, but dark and brooding. I'm like Tim Burton wasn't this unsubtle, wasn't this blatant.
No, but these people are so subtle and blatant and so dumb and stupid for making these movies.
I'm sure there's a place for these movies. Like I said, we all like our so bad it's good movies. I have nothing to really say on it because I haven't really watched them myself.
Yeah, but you're going to hate me for saying this. It makes Halloween Resurrection looks better. There you go. I said that.
Okay, now I have to see them. Now I have. See what you done? You made me want to see them. It's like reverse psychology all over again.
If people thought movies like Batman and Robin, Superman 4, Halloween Resurrection were bad movies, those movies are Citizen Kane compared to these.
Oh, man. Wow. Okay, well, that's an endorsement. So if you guys have not seen this movie, go see it. Not really. Not.
These movies are just crap, and I'm probably never going to bother to rewatch. No matter what they do to come out with new ones, I'm just not interested.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check it out just to see how bad it is. See it torture myself a little bit. a little masochism goes a long way.
Well, my advice: have a bottle of vodka and some junk food on the side to get through it.
Will do, and I'll start speaking Russian by the end of it.
Yes, and also if you watch the Screamboat Willie, when you see a Disney princess reference, drinking game. Oh, there's Snow White, there's Cinderella, there's Alice in Wonderland. Up, drink time.
Pray for my liver, folks. Pray for my liver.
As you all know, I'm only joking here, people.
Oh yeah. We're not endorsing. I'm not gonna get really drunk for real, but it's all jokey joke.
Get through it. Just have a couple of snacks on the side and
a couple schnapps, hops, and I don't know. Yeah, martini. Start talking like Goofy by the end of it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
These movies are just shit and terrible, and I'm just
need more toilet paper.
That's fine, but like you said, Disney is more scary than what when I was.
Disney in reality is more scary. I mean, with the swingers and everything like that, and the Disney adults.
A few months ago, I rewatched Snow White. This is still scarier than what I saw with the Disney public domain horror movies.
Yeah, it's funny, Like I said, if they really wanted to make a Disney horror film, why not make a Grimm's, a Grimm's fairy tale version?
That's better than what I saw.
Snow White, based off of which I think they have. I'm not entirely sure.
Right. Yeah.
I have no idea.
And the other thing too, Mousetrap. I don't know if this was the first one they did, but here's my point though. If people who don't like Scream, I'd rather watch a Scream movie over Mousetrap.
Yeah, and the one Mousetrap movie I know of is the comedy with
right. Well, that's a different
movie altogether.
This is called The Mousetrap, where
The Mousetrap.
they're basically at some Chuck E. Cheese place, and there's a guy dressed as Mickey Mouse Killer. Gee, and I really don't give a crap if these people live or die.
Can you tell they're a big fan of Five Nights at Freddy's?
I think
they're a big fan of Five Nights at Freddy's.
I haven't seen that, but I would not be surprised right there.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like somebody said, "Listen, we have Mickey Mouse. Zoomers, they like Five Nights at Freddy's, right?
Right.
Good idea, Johnson. Let's greenlight it.
Right. And also,
even though they kind of already did that with Nicolas Cage,
right?
Willy's Wonderland, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And we eventually did a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but
yeah,
that's a.
And remember how in Scream, when they say the rules of surviving a horror film, they made reference to that. I'm like, oh my god! It's like stop copying somebody. Use a dictionary. Use your own dialogue.
Yep. You don't need to be self-aware to be a good movie. Yes. Stop going to the school of Quentin Tarantino. For better or for worse, we all know he has a feet fetish.
Yes.
Stop it. It's gross. Stop it, Quentin. We know. But yeah, don't go to the school of I know that movie reference. This has been done before, hasn't it? Just do the idea.
Right. Because that relates to a little bit what recently I did on my YouTube channel with the Alien Predator films. Like, again, the first two Alien films, those are a masterpiece and the best. But the later ones, they're just getting lazy. They're just repeating the same format over and over again. They're also repeating the famous movie lines, "Get away from her, you bitch!" I'm like, oh my god.
Right, exactly.
The same with Predator 2, the first one, legendary, but then these other ones, they're just like saying the same thing. Get to the chopper. It's like, Arnold said it better, you dummy.
Yeah, and I'm put a finer point on it. There is I like Predator 2 with Danny Glover.
I love that movie.
And that's a perfect example of a different sequel, something different.
Yes.
But something that's still in the same vein. You know,
remember,
like I said, in my mind, there's only two Predator movies.
Right. When I saw Predators in 2010, that movie could not make up its mind, and
I know, and I hate that in cinema. You know, what are you? Are you a sequel, or are you like a cinematic identity crisis?
Right.
It doesn't know. That's why I hate requels. To get off on a rant here, but I hate requels because they never know what they want to be. They're sharing the title of the original, which I always thought was a cynic cash grab of no, this is the original now. We're replacing the original, but we're also doing a sequel to the original. Guess what I am? Like it's a total cinematic identity crisis, and it's just ridiculous. It's like if you're going to be your own thing, if you're going to be a sequel to it, be a sequel. If you're going to be a remake to it, be a remake. Don't be both.
When I was watching The Predators from 2018, oh my god, I've never hated a movie so much in my life. I'm like,
I'm waiting, and this is a reference to a Razor Fist joke. If you guys have not seen Razor Fist, the Rageaholic, I'm gonna do a little plug. He's one of my favorite streamers.
Right.
Definitely check him out. But he had made a joke during his Alien Predator 2 review. Aliens that identify as predators. I'm waiting on that. I'm waiting on that subtitle, because that's where we're at, folks. Where the jokes that we've made are now reality.
Right. Well, remember the movie Liar, Liar? I used the reference where, stop copying movie lines, asshole!
Yeah. Well, that's where we're at. Self-referential humor. And, you know, I like a reference humor now and again. You know, listen, I like the movie Clerks.
Right.
You know, I like the movie Clerks, and that's full of references. But there's a difference between doing it right and just being like, you watch old movies. Cool.
Right.
Okay. Stop quoting them.
Thank God Prey was a breath of fresh air to Predator, where it's like, yes, this is something different. We're in a different time period, way before advanced technology, advanced weapons, where they're fighting Native Americans that didn't have the advantage that Arnold Schwarzenegger had in the first Predator movie.
Right.
That was very original. I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, yes, we got something different. I'm glad. And again, you don't have to watch The Predator from 2018, that piece of garbage. To me, that movie doesn't exist.
Right. Exactly. It's just, it's one of those things of like, I hate cinematic identity crisis.
Yeah. And also the other thing too about The Predator from 2018, the sad part is these annoying new douchebag characters had more screen time than what in the first two Predator film when a character was killed one by one with honor and dignity. These characters did not die until the end. I'm like, oh my god, how the hell are we stuck with these douchebags until the end of the
movie? Thank you, Soldier 143. We loved you for doing that thing that we can't remember.
Right. Yes, or especially how with Michael Keegan's character, who's known for comedy, but I'm not familiar with his teen, he said the most cringiest line I've ever heard in a movie in my life when he insulted Thomas Jane's character when they were trying to get the hell out of prison. I'm like, I don't care if these people do get out of prison. He says, hey, if your mother's vagina was a video game, be ready to eat for everyone. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
Yeah, it's like they're going for Jesse Ventura, but they're not hitting the mark.
Oh, they're
not hitting that mark.
Close. And throughout in my YouTube, I kept saying, "Where the hell was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny Glover?" Like, you know what? No, those actors are too good to be in this crap.
Right, and even if they got competent actors, I don't think it would really see because it's down to the script, it's down to the writing.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry for my rant, people. I just had to get out of my system.
Sometimes you got to engage that rant.
Yes, it's true. They say you need to blow off some steam. I just blew off some steam right there.
You blew some steam, Bennett.
Yeah, especially how I never plan on doing YouTube videos about these Disney public domain horror movies. This is it right here.
Yep. That's all you got.
Yeah.
On that note, is there anything else you want to talk about?
There is one more thing I want to say. Sam Raimi is doing a new horror film that I'm excited for called Send Help. It may be a little bit different than Drag Me to Hell and Evil Dead, but that's okay. I'll still take Sam Raimi for...
yeah, I'll have to check it out too, yeah.
Because here's a guy who never disappoints... Okay, maybe he's not perfect, but he still always impresses me. He's always got some fresh ideas, Sam Raimi.
Yeah. And on that note, if we're talking about recommendations, I gotta give a little Wolfman Sam recommendation of my own.
Okay.
American Mary from 2013. I just happened to see it on Tubi. It was the little film that could, as I would call it. It kind of has sort of a female Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe, but it's more than that. It's to give a premise without giving anything away, a woman desperately looking for work who is a medical student, basically learning about the human anatomy, kind of gets involved with these, trying to find a word here, I guess amputee, not amputees, but basically involving like physical surgery. I can't find the words. Like surgical, replacing surgical limbs and stuff like that. But she finds the dark underbelly of like a body modification and all the kind of freaky stuff, and kind of becomes quote unquote the Bloody Mary of the underground. And for those of you that haven't seen it and looking for something different, something that's gory but not too gory.
Who was her teacher? Dr. Herbert West?
Might as well have been. The one negative thing I have to give...
If Herbert West had a daughter, this would be it for him.
Yeah, the one negative thing I have to give this, and it's a slight, is that the villains are cartoonishly evil. You could tell that they are villains from a mile away. But the one thing I really do love about Mary's character, especially in the beginning, and most of the cast... is they come off as people. It's not like she starts out as a normal medical student just looking for work. And there's elements of comedy in this kind of gory fable too. But over time, she slowly becomes desensitized to her new job. But oddly enough, the people that she works with, a la her bodyguard, kind of the nicest people that she ever met.
Right.
In a weird way. But you have to see it. You have to see it. American Mary from 2013. It's worth a watch.
Okay, I'll have to look into that.
All right. Do you want to end it here? Or?
Yeah, I think we'll end it here. There's nothing. I pretty much got everything out of my system today.
Okay. Well, with that said, I've been Wolfman Zam, here with my partner Johnny Buff Guns. We have been Creatures of the Night, and we'll see you guys next time.
And most importantly, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.